So hi there, everyone. Welcome to the Brentford Games Network virtual senior showcase presentation. Before we get started, we'd like to acknowledge that Wilfrid Laurier University and its campuses are located on the Haldimand Tract, traditional territory of the neutral Anishinaabe and Haudenosaunee peoples. This land is part of the Dish with One Spoon Treaty between the peoples and symbolizes the agreement to share, to protect our resources and not engage in conflict. And we thank them for allowing us to be here. Tonight, what we're going to do is celebrate our seniors. Yay! So our senior students have been working for the last 4 years on learning how to make games. And what's going to happen this evening is you're going to get a chance to learn about the games they have been making. Now, the way that our program works is in the final year of our program, the senior students spend about half of their coursework working on a game. And they do that from the first semester is coming up with ideas and prototypes and trying them out and trying out different concepts and making those first steps. And then they move on to actually going into development where they build that game out. And then by the end, they're ready to release their game into the public. And that's what's happening tonight. So what's going to go on is as you're going to see some games, you will have the ability to go and play those games. I'm going to post a URL now, and I'll post it again later at BGNlab.ca. That is the labs, the Game Labs website. And so that blog is where we're going to have all of our presentations. So we're now going to go ahead and get going with our first presenter, and that's going to be Kaelan, who's going to present his game, The Truth Is Out There. So Kaelan, take it away.
All right, give me one moment. Get PowerPoint sharing. Can everyone see that?
Yep.
Perfect. Okay, let's get started. Hi, my name is Kaelan Dunbar. This is my game, The Truth Is Out There. It is a analog game. That means it's based around tabletop and actually being in person. So I'm here to set expectations so everyone after me can blow them away. So my game, everyone knows the paranormal shows that come on. Few examples here, Mountain Monsters, Bigfoot Edition, Paranormal Cops, apparently arresting ghosts, Finding Bigfoot, which I hear some critics of the show say it's more like not finding Bigfoot, and anything that you find on the History Channel, essentially. I wanted to make a game that was based around parodying these shows. So essentially with this, corporate wants to put paranormal shows in a new light by making different sorts of shows with a paranormal twist to them. Because all of the paranormal investigation shows are the exact same thing. So we have such wonderful concepts like a workout tape, home reno, comedy special, or sitcom, any of those. Players compete with each other to pitch the hottest new paranormal-based show in whatever genre corporate is looking for. The design goals with this was to create a social pitching game that gives the players control over which cards they have using typical card game system designs. So essentially what that means is I wanted to create a social game like Cards Against Humanity or Apples to Apples for a more PG version, but give people control over the cards that they get. Because a common frustration with these games is that people can't get what they want and they have to spend many, many turns just getting rid of garbage cards that they don't want. My solution to this is to add a more traditional card game system into it. At the same time, though, I wanted to make an enjoyable experience for everybody. So I wanted to make the effects simple and straightforward so people would understand them. I wanted to create a fun parody of the paranormal investigation show genre in general because it's a very silly genre, and yet they take themselves extremely seriously. So I think it's a perfect medium to parody. And I also wanted to give players the freedom to pitch their idea however they want in this game. Again, going back to a lot of those social card games, you kind of just hand your card over and then the person who's judging for that round just sort of picks whatever they like. There's no way to personalize it or to convey the idea that you had in mind. So I wanted to give an option for players to do that with this game. So the cards themselves here each have a title, as you can see, such as the metal detector that came with a cool DVD. Each card has an effect, which you can see below. Each is to manipulate your hand or deck in some way so that you can get more cards or get rid of them. Each card has a classification, which is used when presenting cards, as you have to have one of each category just so that you have enough to work with. I based it sort of around improv in general, where you get prompts from the audience and then work with that. And in those shows, they usually ask for more than one prompt to get them going. So I implemented that with this. And each card has a number. So this is an idea that not everyone is completely comfortable with coming up with ideas on the fly. It's human nature to be a little bit shy sometimes. So what these numbers do is that during the presenting phase, if you reveal cards in a certain order, you'll get points for it. That's it. It's just a way for people to consistently get points, even if they don't have the best presentation, so they can at least get something from the round because they planned out their hand correctly. So how does it all work? This is a bit of a screenshot from Tabletop Simulator where my game is. So at the beginning of the game, players select a judge to act as a tiebreaker for that round. All players, including the judge, can play 5 cards, one after the other, to change their hand and deck. Once a card is played, it's left on the table until the end of the entire round. That means after presenting, after all that. I did this specifically to make players, really consider, should I play this card because it has a good effect, or do I want to keep it because it seems funny? There are some cards that may not appeal to people. Each round has a different theme, such as home reno on the table right there. Not all cards are going to work for a home reno situation. So it's weighing, is this card going to be funny or is it not going to be funny? And then deciding whether you want to use the effect or not. You can always pass if you're okay with your hand, but that's sort of how it goes. After all that's said and done, players, excluding the judge, then pick their favorite cards from their hand, one from each category, to present to the table, placing them face down on the table, and then during the presenting phase, revealing them one at a time when each of them becomes relevant to their pitch. And the best part is they can do this pitch any way they want. So whether they want to do a snippet from the show, which I've seen some playtesters do, or give an actual pitch, or maybe a commercial for the TV show, anything is possible. And I want to incentivize creativity with that. The players then collectively at the table decide who's the best pitch. And we have the judge acting in this role to be a tiebreaker between parties, because everyone knows when you're playing a game and you have to vote for people, you're going to usually vote for yourself. It's a fact of life. So the judge is there to make that less painful. Thankfully, the judge, as said before, can play their cards so they can set up their hand for the next round if they so choose. But what if you don't have a category of card? You tried everything, but you just don't have a hand that works for you. Well, you can ask another player for one of their cards to borrow for that round. The lending player then gets the card back at the end of the turn and gets half a point for each of the cards lent. This is to incentivize players to actually help out their fellow players instead of hoarding the cards, which, yes, can happen. So yeah, that is the game in a nutshell. If that is appealing to you, that is the Steam Workshop link. Once you click on it, you subscribe to the game on the page, and then you can load it up in the game Tabletop Simulator, which is what the game was built in. thank you all for listening, and that's my game.
Okay, thank you for presenting that. So a question for you. Could you talk about what were your greatest challenges as you made this game?
Honestly, coming up with funny prompts for people. That the card effects came easy. You know, once you get the balance of that down, you can say, yep, this card's gonna remove this much from your, yep, I can paste the link right now. Give me 2 seconds. But coming up with creative titles that are appealing to players is a different beast entirely. I would definitely recommend anyone trying to make a funny game, you do it with another person. I did this game by myself, but with another person, you can bounce ideas off each other, and that makes the process a lot easier.
Yeah, this has been one of the challenges that all of the students have had this year. Typically, they spend this time in a shared space in our lab in Grand River Hall. But because of the pandemic, we've all been at home, and so they've had to learn how to do it. So a game like this would have traditionally been presented in a card form. Instead, Kaelan had to learn to use Tabletop Simulator, which is a tool that allows you to simulate a tabletop game in order to have create the game. You'll find the students, they had choices as to what formats of games they made. So tonight you're going to see a variety of formats, different kinds of games. What we're going to do is then we're going to go on, and after we've heard from all of our presenters, we'll come back around to some more open discussion about these, but I want to make sure we have time for all of our groups to present. So thank you, Kaelan. Our next group is, there's 4 that are going to be talking about a game called Dark. And I will let them, I'm not sure who's going to be speaking, so I'll let them introduce themselves and talk about Dark. And again, you'll find all the links are at, if you go to BGNlab.ca, I've updated that now. So the links are all there for all the games. So that's active.
Hi, I'm Nicholas. Can you hear me? Everything good? All right, so for this, it's me, Adam, Dong-Soo, and Cristina, and our game is called Dark. So just give me a second. Dong-Soo, can you share it so I can see it?
Sure, I will share my screen. I really hope y'all can see this right now. Just can everyone see it? I really hope so. Otherwise, I'm just screen sharing nothing.
Yeah, I see it, Dong-Soo, don't worry.
Okay. So I don't know, I guess I'll talk now since I have the game. But okay, so I guess I'll take over for a bit. So this is our game Dark. I'm not sure if it'll be a bit laggy on Zoom because I know screen sharing can be a bit funky on Zoom. So our game Dark is about this main character who, if you check all the way over here, so basically this main character goes around and is kind of like in this realm, I guess you could say, where you go into people's hearts or whatever, and you try to help them overcome their problem. Yeah, so these people are suffering, and as the main character, you're trying to go through their memories and try to help them overcome this suffering. So for our first character, girl crying over here, so this person has been through heartbreak after recent breakup and love, typical things. So once you talk to this character, she's talking about how she's so broken, and then you go through all these rooms where it kind of reflects an individual memory that they had with their significant other. So the first one would be a bedroom. That's a very, I don't know, I guess you could say common place in terms of relationships. Bedroom is a place of privacy, all that jazz. The playground, maybe it was a memory regarding a fun time that they had or just some serious talk that they had. Restaurants, and then an arcade. So again, these just kind of reflect the different types of memories that the heartbroken character has had with their significant other. And then you are to collect these kind of heart pieces that we have here. There's one located in each, I guess you could say, section/level of this house. And once you collect them, you bring them back to the heartbroken character. And then, that's kind of how you help them overcome their suffering, by dealing with all this, I don't know, pent-up emotion, I guess you could say. I'm not great with words. This is why Nick's typically a better talker than I am.
I can take over for the last one.
Sure. All right, Nick can take over.
Okay, so throughout the world, there's going to be a bunch of different people. Well, so far we only have 2 people suffering in our game, but we're going to try and expand it and create at least 4. So for our second one, this person's suffering from grief. So the player goes through each room, which is actually representing a stage of their grief. So the first one is what is it? Denial. So the first one's denial. So everything is just like, yeah, you see, you're not gone. Like it's just the room is perfectly fine, but it's just writing on the wall saying you're not gone because they can't accept that it happened. And then the second one, I believe, is anger. So everything's thrown around, broken. They ripped up the picture of the person because they're angry that it happened. Third one, I believe, is bargaining. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Bargaining, because as you can see again with the writing, like all of this is pretty much, our game very heavily focuses on visual storytelling. So everything is just shown through the visuals, which Cristina did all the art for. So thank you, Cristina.
Props to
Carried us
Cristina.
with that. Yeah, but so I'll do anything. They're right on the wall again. The room is still a mess because they're just trying to, get back what they just lost again by ripping up the photo. So you can see they're trying to put it back together. The fourth one is depression, I believe. So everything is just dark. Some stuff is still just on the ground. The picture's now in the garbage, just focusing on they're in the depressive state now. And then the last one is acceptance.
Yeah.
So everything's more bright. The colors are more vivid to try to show that they're accepting that it happened and everything's back the way it was except the picture. And so in this one, they have to figure out a way to get the picture, because as you can see with the character at the beginning, they're holding the empty picture frame. So you have to try to bring the first picture frame where everything's intact to the end so they can have the picture back. That's the main part of this part. And then we hope that that we can better show this when we actually flush it out, because it's very hard to with the constraints and everything with this semester. We had troubles actually getting all the coding we wanted done, so we made it very easy to do. But we hope we can flush it out more, show more visual storytelling, and yeah.
Just to answer Elvis's question, the game is kind of complete-ish, not really.
There's no end screen right now, and
yeah,
there's some components we want to add still, but it's still playable. Everything's still good to go. You can get through the levels, no problem.
Yes, it is a very, I guess you could say, kind of like a prototype where we do have lots of the mechanics put into the game. However, it could still obviously be fleshed out, create better, movement, create better, more developed levels and stuff like that. So it is playable. Just for the end game or for the end goal, we just really want to have something that we could definitely present to people. Like Nick said and Scott mentioned, just the whole pandemic has been such a ordeal to deal with. That kind of sounds redundant. But yeah, the pandemic has just really messed with us. So we were trying our absolute best to have something to present, but we got where we could. So
Dong-Soo, can you play a little bit of it? You don't have to do the whole thing.
Okay, yeah, I guess I'll play it a bit. I guess it would make sense since I had the game started up. Unity does take a while to load. That is very loud. So I'm not sure if you guys could hear it now. I really hope you guys can, because there is supposed to be rain and it's absurdly loud, but
I don't think we're getting any audio through it.
So this is so for now, we just kind of have a box that we're supposed to push, and it's going very slowly at the moment. You know what? Nah, we'll just keep going. So here's a better idea. Instead of having to make you guys wait through all that running around and all that jazz, I will move the main character over, simply because for some reason the box, I think I still have an older version because I know Nick has the completed version. But this is where we start off in the heartbroken character's house. So just dropping in, skipping a bit of the level. So as you can see, this girl here is crying. This is the heartbroken character.
Good talk.
And then, yeah, if you press the F button, she'll say, "I'm so broken," just kind of vanilla dialogue, just give her some characters, not much, but it's something. So once you go through that, once you go into the house, some music kind of starts. Again, not sure if you guys can hear the audio as well. But there is lots of things that you go through. So for the first level in the bedroom, you'll be climbing up top the bed, go on to this thing. And as you can see, there's the heart piece there. For now, we just have it so once you just collide with it and once you touch it, you'll collect it. And as you can see, you go up, up. Oh man, I'm so bad at this game that I created or helped create. And then you go through the arcade. So I don't want you to say goodbye. As Nick mentioned, we do have lots of writing just to kind of simulate that thought process that these characters are going through in these very tough times. You know, people are always going to be wanting some sort of release. They're always talking. Here's more hearts. That's kind of a double whammy there.
Why'd that happen?
So our gameplay is, I guess, very simple. You know, it's literally just running around, kind of platforming, just collecting hearts. So there's that part.
What is the experience that you want the players to go through as they're playing the game?
So sorry, let me just pause that because the rain is really loud. So when we want the players to experience when playing this game, you know, this is a very, I guess you could say it's serious because it does tackle with, you know, people dealing with heartbreak and grief. So we kind of want them to be able to envision what people go or feel like when they go through this. Because I don't want to speak for everyone, of course, but I would assume that lots of people have gone through, you know, these tough times. And so when playing through these games, we hope that players would be able to understand the process of it, how to heal through it. Again, like I mentioned before, we're still kind of developing it. We are planning to work on it, of course, past this point, but for now, it's just collecting all these parts, going through the process, and then hopefully the players will realize that, hey, you know, it's a very tough thing to deal with, and it's not so easy to heal, but you will get through it. So it is supposed to be a very depressing game, but with a bit of hope at the end, you know, that everything will be okay. You know, it's tough now, but things will get better. Stuff like that.
And it's a good example of our goal with our program here is to create play with a purpose. And play does not always have to be frivolous. In this case, you're using play to explore difficult emotions. So yeah, I congratulate you for taking on a hard issue.
Thank you.
If I may just add one little thing to that, Scott, is that the way I see this game is it's, you know, it's basically a little kind of forcing the player to confront the grief and the trauma. And so that's not an easy thing. Nicholas, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it's a beautiful thing. I think it's something that we often don't, experience in games. Oftentimes we, the typical kind of gameplay is supposed to be an escape from difficulty and challenge, and this game is a little bit of the opposite. But then there's a sort of a little bit of hope and resilience as well built into the gameplay experience. Nicholas, am I right about that?
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're completely right. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, just making sure. It's hard to tell.
So any advice that you would give other people out there who are taking on a difficult topic with a game?
Don't be afraid to really, well, I guess not force it on the player, but like, don't be afraid that players will deny it and not want to do it, because no matter what, someone out there will want to actually have a game that goes through these topics and actually helps them get through it if they're also going through it.
Just to add on to Nick's as well, I think just when dealing with topics such as this, you obviously don't want to just assume that everyone goes through the same thing, and also that you know what's going to happen. Definitely put some, I guess, research into it, because you don't want to portray these sensitive things as, you know, just a thing that you can talk about easily. You know, these are very difficult things. People go through these things all the time, unfortunately. So you really want to make sure that you accurately portray how people go through it, the process that goes through in healing, and the process that goes through, you know, in the pre-healing. I don't know how to describe it. I'm not a doctor, so I don't know the proper terminology. But just make sure that you portray what you researched, and it may be sensitive, but you need to tell people, hey, this is a part of real life, so don't be afraid to show it. Just maybe not too sensitive topics, but
Okay, well, thank you all for presenting. Look forward to seeing this when it's all ready to be shown and ready to be tried.
Yes.
Thank you.
And at the BGNlab.ca, keep an eye on that URL. I will continue to update these URLs from the student teams as I get their updated builds. So next, we will hear from Ryan and Richest with the game called Wormhole.
All right.
Hello? Is my mic fine?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
I think it's fine. All right, so Richest is going to share the screen.
Yeah. Which one is it?
Our game is Wormhole. I'm Ryan Farkas. I kind of took the design lead with the game. And
yeah, I'm Richest, and I took the art side of the game.
yeah. So Richest is just going to play through, and I'll kind of talk through our process and what the game is. So
we have a super scuffed title right here.
yeah, pretty much. Yeah. So Wormhole is a 2D side-scrolling precision platformer, and we kind of have players jump from platform to platform, moving left to right of the screen, trying to get to the end of the game. So using two mechanics of jumping and dashing, players have to manage the controls, although it's
The
simple.
audio is really loud. Let me just
I don't think we could actually hear.
There's no audio that's
Oh,
good.
okay. Well, I can't hear anything, so sorry.
Okay. So players are gonna have to master these challenging controls, even though they're super simple. And players will charge their dash, pointing in the left or right direction, which will charge their dash. And I don't know if Richest wants to talk about it, but we have this animation that plays, and that's instead of a charge bar, we kind of have a growing color change.
So what we want to do later on is just more animations for the character, because right now there's only one animation for the charging. We give I want to signify more like an explosion, or when he's ready to when he's at maximum charge.
Mm-hmm. Right now we just have a blue, a yellow, and a red, which signifies how strong the power is. And yeah, with a jump, as he's doing, players move across the screen, flying through the biomes. The game, as I should have said from the beginning, is actually greatly inspired by games like Jump King, Pogo Stuck, and Getting Over It. These frustrating and challenging games that we want players to have this accomplishing feeling when they finish or get past a certain biome. So when they start the game, they'll find themselves in a tutorial. We actually didn't show it this time, but they start in a tutorial.
Yeah. There's no assets for it right now.
Yeah, it's very simple right now. And then quickly move to the actual game. And as they jump from platform to platform, they'll fall, as you may have seen Richest fall. And when they fall into a portal, which sends them backwards. And this is how we plan to punish players. So do we want them to be punished for the mistakes they make? And we want to justly punish them based on the types of jumps that they make and miss, and they'll fall backwards depending on the jump, a certain amount of spaces. And through speaking of biomes, we actually have 6 biomes. Richest has shown the first and is now showing the second. We're gonna just talk through what each biome is, and Richest is gonna kind of talk about the art and the direction he wants to go with that. Starting with the forest. Starting with the forest biome is just basic platforms. So it's nothing really mechanically different for the player, just normal platforms. But as they get to the halfway point, they'll notice smaller platforms. And I don't know if Richest could talk about the look, I guess, and feel of the forest biome.
For the forest biome, it's mostly just rocks and grass and moss. But later on, I want to add some sort of maybe like ancient temple or something, just to not to jazz it up, but just to make it more interesting, or just to make it more how you say unique. Because right now, for all the biomes, there's just simple settings like say mountains or rocks or and all that, which is kind of boring as it goes on.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I know there's things like for the forest biome, there's like leaves falling through, and I think you wanted them to be like easier to see, and each biome will have a unique thing like that. And the mountain biome, the theme is going to be smaller platforms, kind of imitating like a rock climbing type of feel. But as they move to the later halves, you'll see these rock slides, which you may have found themselves in, or you may have seen Richest go across, which actually slows him down as he jumps past them.
It's really hard to tell right now because there's no animations because I just never got the time to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But each biome builds on each other, so players will be ready for the next challenge. So in the lava biome, there'll be those rock slides in the form of like lava flows, which I don't know if we'll get there, but if we do, we'll show that.
I'll just skip to it right now.
Yeah, no rush.
Yeah.
And in the later half of the lava biome, there are going to be these magma cubes that kind of work as a quicksand type of feel where you slowly fall through them. In the next biome, the sand biome, will have quicksand, which they fall through, but at a quicker pace. And in the later half, the sand will actually freeze and players will slide across a little bit of the sand, which leads into the next biome, which is the the ice biome, sorry, which will be frozen, and players will have to like focus on not falling off platforms and making smaller jumps or adjusting their jumps based on the platforms. And halfway through the biome, the gravity will start to change, which leads into the final biome, the gravity biome, where gravity's all whack, and we're actually going to take all the mechanics from each biome and try to shove them in. We've only completed up to the lava biome, but we want to continue making strides towards each biome and adding them onto them. So yeah, in order for the player to win, they don't actually have to get to the end. Not just get to the end, they actually have to get to the end within 30 minutes. We want the game to be kind of made for a speedrunning type of feel.
We also want to like incentivize how do you say
replaying it, I guess.
Not replaying, it's for more story, or like, because the faster you go, the more bits of story that you would get in the game. Because I don't know if you talked about this already, but for the game, like you're inside a wormhole per se, but it's just one big worm or galaxy-sized worm that you're inside.
So as he's kind of saying, like as they get the game quicker and quicker, we'll talk about like these story elements. So when they beat the game within 30 minutes, 30 to 15 minutes type of feel, or before like if they beat the game in 14 minutes left on the clock to 1 minute left, or 1 second left, they'll see a cutscene which kind of shows that there is a space-eating worm going towards their planet, which shows a story element to the players. If they do it within 15 minutes to 5 minutes with no more than 5 minutes left, another cutscene plays with them escaping, and they kind of see, I guess, the planet being destroyed by the worm. And then we want to play another 5 minute cutscene because we want players to actually beat the game within 5 minutes if possible. And that will be a secret kind of cutscene that we haven't really figured out what we want to do yet, but
we're still very early into the game.
Secret ending type of feel. And yeah, with that, we kind of want a speedrunning community. I think it would be kind of fun to see players come together and different ways to use the portals to speed across the screen. So yeah, that's pretty much the game.
A question in the chat. What is the message of the game?
We didn't really have a clear message. We kind of took the message of like frustrating games that there's, you could just a challenge to overcome. So through like frustration, you could overcome it, I guess, but there's no real like direct message other than that.
So we have another question in the chat. The question is GML or drag and drop?
GML.
I don't know what that means. Can you explain?
It's more like, is it, is there like, was this coded or was this used for, GameMaker has like a drag and drop system where it's just very simple, or I'm not, how do you explain it? I know Mark could explain this better. Or it's, most of the coding is done for you. You just have to put in the values and connect the dots essentially. If that makes sense. I don't really use drag and drop too much.
Okay, and so is this one is available to play. So again, at bgnlab.ca, if you go there, you can find the URL to download and try it yourself and see if you can finish the game in 5 minutes to get the secret ending that isn't there yet. But
Yeah.
Yeah.
all right, thank you very much.
Okay.
All right. Awesome.
Now we will turn the floor over to Sam Graham to talk about Humans Are Weird.
I just need to pull it up. Can we see it?
Yep, we can see it.
Yep. Okay, so my game is called Humans Are Weird and is meant to explore the oddities that come with being a human. So your role that you put, or the role that you take on in this game is an alien humanologist. So your entire goal is to learn about and try and make sure that humanity is actually going as planned on the ship that you're on. So you're on a space base in deep space. So you're the only thing really standing between the humans getting angry or upset in the ship. And with this, you have to look at different human aspects such as psychology, sociology, and biology. You have the alien who knows absolutely nothing. So this is the main sort of scene that you're seeing, and at the bottom you can see some of the characters that become interactable throughout the game. The how to play just kind of goes over through it. So it's a point and click game, so you really just need to point and click at different things. There's one part where you need to drag things, but otherwise it's very simple mechanics in the sense of controls, so that it's open for just about anybody to play. There are two phases that you can go through. So there's the query phase, which is when you're figuring out the information that you need to solve kind of the problem that you're told. And then in the theory phase, you're putting together the information. Going back, you've got your credits. There is music with this. I have it muted for right now, just so you can hear me. And starting, it takes a moment, you have to go through a cutscene. So this explains a little bit about what I just said. So you're an alien and your friend is talking about this position. So it's a position for humanologist on this new space base in Sector 32 of deep space. Your role would be to make sure the people of Terra, or humans, are not just taken care of, but happy as well, since humans can be very dangerous when angry. Going through, you get accepted, you begin. You're kind of called for your first query. This is just to get people going. So this character is your captain, so you'll see her at the beginning and the end of every query to kind of go over what you need to do and what you've learned throughout it. So with this one, I can just kind of scroll through. The captain found red blood in one of the waste rooms, which would be a bathroom on the spaceship. And she's asking you to look into it because the only species on the ship that has red blood is that of humans. So this is the first level. So there's a tutorial that goes through everything that'll pop up from the odd time. But what you really want to do is you're going to be exploring. You can go between rooms using the arrow buttons, and you're looking for these objects that change a little bit of a different color when you hover over them. If you click on it, again, tutorial, then you're going to get one of these boxes. It tells you the title of the object. It repeats the title of the object, how much time it'll take to investigate, and a button so that you can investigate it. The time it takes to investigate will be taken out of your minutes left, which is kind of supposed to represent you going throughout the day. So 48 minutes left, I believe, comes out to an 8-hour workday. So you've got approximately 8 hours to go through this, but it's not timed in the traditional sense, so you can take time to weigh your different options before you click on things. When you click on it, your time is decreased, but you get more information. So with this one, it's about the blood stain, and it says this blood stain, or this is the blood stain the captain found on the rim of the waste chute. It's red, so it must have come from one of the humans on board. And with this, you can kind of just continue to go through finding different things. So here's a blood stain, or here's an order form to go through. One of the most important things that you'll kind of need to go between is those are very simple objects that have very basic information that you can look at, versus if you click on a book. So this is called Is My Human Dying? It takes more time, but you also get more information as well. And throughout this phase, you can also interview people. So this is one of the crewmates. Her name is Roxy. You again go through. It'll take up time, but you can interview her. So going through, you've got 2 choices to go between, or to ask her questions. So it kind of changes how she will respond to certain things. If you're nicer to her, she'll respond in a different way than if you're more abrupt with her, to show kind of the difference between how humans react to. So she'll just kind of explain her side of the story going through this. Let's go through. And I'm just going to zoom through so we can see the next part, but it's mostly that's what you do throughout this entire phase. So this is going to be the theory phase. So taking the information that you learned in the query phase, you're now going to put together certain things. So you figure out whose blood it was. It was Roxy. This is the click and drag portion of the game. Roxy works as the engineer on the ship. And once you kind of figure out where each of the sticky notes goes, you can click on finished, and it'll tell you the exact, or it'll tell you what connections you made, how many you missed in each kind of the steps, so that when you have the ability to replay and try again looking for different information, because not all the information will be available to you in the time that's given. Going through, you come back, the captain is thanking you for your whole thing, and it just kind of goes on from there. So like this is the second level. It looks different. You're on a different part of the space base. There are different people. There are different things to look at, different objectives to kind of find. This one actually has 2 objectives to go through, and it's just pretty basic in terms of you're investigating, you're trying to figure out as much information as you can, put together the story yourself. And really, what this is meant to showcase is we as humans believe that we know a lot about ourselves, but in reality, we don't really know that much because we are such a unique kind of species, and there's always more to learn. So we have to be open to different points of views and different information that we can find throughout our everyday lives.
That's pretty exciting. What is the age range for players for the game?
The age range, I currently have it as probably high school student-esque. I haven't fully thought of it because it seems like it's a very like PG game in the sense that it doesn't really talk about anything violent or gory or anything, but a lot of information might be hard for some people to grasp. So I'm thinking the age range is kind of your high school students, so your maybe 15 to 20-year-olds. So where that time of it's a big transition from you're a child to you're becoming an adult.
Another question that's come in from the chat. What's the intended release platform? This would work well as a mobile game.
So currently it's available as a PC game on both Windows and Apple. I considered doing a mobile game, but the coding decided to give me some issues, so I stuck with it, but it's definitely a thought in the future.
Okay. Well, this is an exciting game, and you've explored some interesting topics with it. And again, just like the other games, if you want to check them out, you can go over to bgnlab.ca. That's got all of the URLs for the game, so you can play them and give them a try right now. For our final game for the evening, we have a group of four presenting a game called Mind Fog.
Okay. Hello, can you hear me? Cool.
Yep, we can hear you.
So we're gonna have a Paris screen share the game real quick as I talk briefly about what our game's about.
There we go. Can you see that? Yes?
Yeah.
Okay, sweet.
I just gotta exit full screen. Okay. So our game's called Mind Fog, and it was put together by myself, being in charge of the narrative and dialogue, with original art assets created by Izabella, programmed in Unity by Paris, and directed by Edward, who also had a hand in developing the early parts of the story, and unfortunately could not be here today. But anyways, in the game, you play as a witch who wakes up in a graveyard with a foggy memory and sees that your hometown, called Shima, has been taken over by a dark force, producing monsters and shrouding Shima in permanent darkness and a murky, dense fog. So the only thing that is familiar to you is your magical lantern, which flame changes color in order for you to tell when someone you're speaking to is telling the truth or is lying to you. So a blue flame would represent someone telling the truth, and a red flame would represent someone telling lies. And your main goal is to find a person named Akuma who's said to have the answers as to why the town is the way that it is now and why they can't remember what happened prior to waking up in this nightmare version of what you used to call home. And along your journey, you'll meet many of the townsfolk whilst also avoiding the monsters that lurk in the mysterious fog that chase you down relentlessly. It is up to you to shine your light on to light up your way through the darkness, but also shed light on who is telling the truth and lying to your face. And in order to find the elusive Akuma and find out what has happened to your memories as well as your hometown. And so throughout your journey, you'll run into numerous characters who were brought to life with Isabella's beautiful and original art style, which you'll see more of with our little presentation that Paris put together. And these characters are important since the game is very narrative driven. And in order to really bring out the message of everything isn't always what it seems, and how sometimes you can't even trust your own self to know what is right and what is wrong in the game. And I think you can really translate those messages to real life. And now I'm going to pass the spotlight on to Paris to talk more about the game and present a short PowerPoint presentation.
Absolutely. I will minimize this and I will hop on over our PowerPoint and then press the play button. I don't know how to do that. There we go. Better at making games than I am at PowerPoints. Yeah, so like Mark said, this is Mindfog. I need to pull up some notes real quick just because I made some notes for us to talk about. Mark did a really good job at kind of explaining the overview. The biggest things though, our design goals for this are, as you can tell, a single player storytelling experience as an RPG with insight into the mind's eye and how, like Mark said, not everything's as it seems, and not to judge with that experience. A key thing that we originally talked about was how not just because things look dangerous and things look evil, it doesn't necessarily make them evil. So that's one of the biggest things. That's one of the first things we talked about, as well as things like not trusting all the information given to you. Mark talked about how the lantern changes colors, and you saw that. But further on to the story, you do come to terms with the fact that the lantern may not be telling the entire truth, and it might not be something you should trust wholeheartedly, even though it is your biggest asset from the beginning of the game. As you wake up for the first time, you pick up this lantern, you say, hey, this is my mom's. But is it something to trust? It's always something to question. As you can see, there's a whole lot of characters in this game. We have grandmas, we have the main character, we have doctors, we have a farmer. What else is there? There's a bunch of mechanics within the game, including that following monster AI that you saw, a couple of time skips within the story, that lantern that you saw that actually changes colors based on how safe you are, how close you are to the monster, as well as if somebody's telling the truth or lying, as well as the way the game was designed within Unity was that instead of having multiple different levels, there would be one big world, and everything will be interactable within that world. So you can go wherever you want, you can interact with whoever you want, but to progress a story, you do need to do the correct actions to do so. What else is there? What to expect from this game? The big idea here is that, and I've been saying this a lot, it's just not to trust everything that everybody tells you. It's about how death is perceived. It's about how different cultures are perceived. How just because somebody does something different than you doesn't make it wrong. It doesn't make it like, I guess, not allowed. A lot of this game, a lot of themes in this game, one of the themes in this game talks about death a lot, and the idea that death isn't always the end, and how not everything that you have experienced in your life can be related to everybody's life. I think that's pretty much all of it. Isabella, do you want to talk about your art a little bit while I scroll through it?
So basically, the inspiration for the art was based off of a lot of pixel games that I feel like has just something that's charming about it. And I wanted assets that wouldn't be insanely impossible to make with the time constraints that we had as well. So super realistic 3D assets wasn't really realistic. Yeah, I basically, you saw the beginning of his slideshow. I had the concept art. You see everything's kind of changed and evolved. Even like the rules of the game have evolved since then. So yeah, yeah.
Yeah, pretty much covers everything, I think. I can kind of show you what the animations look like. If I can open up this animation panel. Let's press play. Yeah, the little moving mustache. There, the most fun asset to animate was definitely the lantern. If I could find it in here, as you can see, there's a lot of things. It will be in the canvas inventory. There it is. So if I press play here, I'll actually notice it moves. It changes color as well. And we have a little flicker one for when you're doing something to the lantern that you're not supposed to do. It's basically like an error code, which is a lot of fun to animate. Cool. That's pretty much it, I think.
Yep, that's all we got.
So what would you say are some of the biggest challenges you encountered as you're making the game?
Okay, well, from the Unity standpoint, it was definitely hopping back in after a couple of years of not using Unity at all, because I got really used to making physical games. And so as you can see, there's a lot of stuff here that may not necessarily need to be here to be trained on. And because of that, it's not very well, what's the right word? I guess compressed. It's not very well like size wise well done. But the way I got around that was, instead of loading multiple separate, optimized, thank you, Kaelan. The way I got around that was, instead of building separate levels, separate scenes, I did it all in one scene. And if I were to play this right now and find my player character and move them, so you can see what that's going to look like. If you walk into a building, and it loads and it loads and it loads, you actually walk right into the building. And there's no loading screens because of it. There's none of the hassle of loading screens and all that kind of stuff. And that's how I kind of got around the optimization issue. Yeah, it's not quite done yet. There are still some story beats that need to be fleshed out and some side quests that need to be completed. Right now in the game, right now in the demo, you are able to get to the biggest plot twist, which I'm not going to spoil if you do want to play it. And for the most part, I don't believe there are any instructions within the game itself. There's a text file within that zip file that is available to you on the BGNlab website. It's basically arrow keys to move or WASD to move, and if you want to interact with anything, just click on it. If you can interact with it, something will happen. If you can't, then nothing will happen. Yeah.
Paris, can I
Just
ask a question? Paris?
Yes, I'm still here.
You know, the character, the version you gave me, the playable version you gave me, the purple character is fully, in my version that you gave me, it's fully viewable. I mean, there isn't this kind of white placeholder. Can I ask about that? Why?
White placeholder. What did you mean by that?
So, you know, when you play the game from the beginning, the version I got was like a fully playable version with all the characters visible as they should be. Like I'm seeing your main character, the little purple fellow. It's got like a white
thing. So this is an issue with my Unity personally.
Oh, okay.
If you play the game as it should be played, actually, let me see if I can open up an EXE here, and show you what it actually is supposed to look like. Let's go to that, and that. Let's see where it opens up. Yeah, Isabel is correct. It's just a light source icon showing. So when you actually play it from the EXE, you'll actually notice that we have full art. and that you can't see a thing because that's how it's designed. So there's actual characters here, and there's walking animation that you can actually see and all that fun stuff. Yeah. Does that clear that up?
It does, because I was playing it.
Yeah.
The monster came at me, and I was trying to, escape.
The monster is actually my pride and joy. I'm really glad I figured out how to do that.
Okay, so as with all of the games, if you would like to play any of these games, you can head to bgnlab.ca. That is a place where you can go and find all the games. And again, we'll update those links and we'll put this recording there as well. But before we close things up, I wanted to open up the floor to see if anyone had questions for any of the students. You can either type them in the chat or you can unmute yourself and share the question here.
I got one question. I would just know the reality of working during COVID and such. I just wanted to ask what, and maybe different people can chime in like throughout. I just wanted to ask, what was your biggest success throughout all this, especially during such an unprecedented time and inability to collaborate sometimes?
I can pop in for a quick second, I guess, if nobody else wants to pop in. So the collaboration, the second half of that question, it makes it a lot easier to collaborate when you have a team of people that have designated roles and know what they need to do. At least in the experience of our group. So in our case, like Mark said, I was designated to work basically only in Unity. Mark focused on the story writing stuff and all the plot and all that fun stuff, and Izabella focused on the art. And then we had Edward, who focused on keeping us on track beyond time constraints and all that fun stuff, as well as making sure we hit our deadlines, hit our goals, and had something to hand it and play by the deadlines we set, which really made things a lot easier. And I think because of that, to answer the first half of that question, at least my biggest success here was actually having something to play here for this showcase. And that wouldn't have happened if I didn't have the team that I had.
I'll add to that as somebody who did it on their own. Of mine was definitely doing it on my own. Like, I can code, I can do some art, I can do the documents, but when you have to do it all on your own and you don't have all of the skills necessary, it's definitely hard. And when it's harder to get somebody to help you because they don't know what you're doing, like I was with Ryan when they were designing their game, and like sometimes they couldn't help me and I couldn't help them because we just didn't have that connection between like our games, of we weren't always working on it at the same time, or we weren't on the same kind of pace, or we didn't see each other every day. So that was definitely the hard part. But then like I felt really proud being able to accomplish this all on my own. I originally had planned to do just one level and make sure that went really well. But eventually I added the second level within 2 weeks, and I was like, this is probably better.
I think probably my biggest success was figuring out how to actually develop using Tabletop Simulator. I don't know how many people have actually used Tabletop Simulator here. I hope quite a bit. But even on the player side, it can be a little bit cryptic to actually use. So figuring out how to actually make stuff in it was a bit challenging, especially the the importing the cards. They have a whole card importer system. But once I figured it out, like my second batch of cards came out a lot faster, and yeah, I didn't have to spend all day doing it that time.
There's a question in the chat about, are there games apart from digital games? Now, what you're seeing here is just a few, some of our seniors, not all of our seniors were able to present tonight. Sandra, would you want to give a brief sort of one sentence overview of some of the games that we did not see?
Absolutely, Scott, it would be my pleasure. That's a good question, Elvis. So there are quite a few games actually, and I would say about, oh my gosh, I have to count them now. Kaelan has got a tabletop that just presented. There's also Kayla, who was supposed to present today, but unfortunately, I think she's moving. Her game is called Back at Camp, which is also a tabletop simulator. It's a beautifully designed game. I really wish she was able to present. It's a kind of a camping game, essentially, a cooperative game that you play while camping. Then there is Eden's game called Discordant Whispers, which is a Discord-based game, which is absolutely brilliant. It's a role-playing game and a kind of a murder mystery game, escape room game on Discord. Then there is Ryan's game, which is Ryan Verbeke, I believe. He's got this sort of survival, again, a tabletop survival game. Then there's Patrick's game, which is also another brilliant tabletop simulator game, which is called Fractured Lines, which is absolutely incredible because it's got quite kind of an intricate level progression, level design to it. And unfortunately, he wasn't able to present. Then there are all the digital games. I'm trying to see if I can name some of the digital games. There's Jonah's game, which is a game on accessibility, which is quite lovely. There is Eamon's game, or app, I should say, which is a brilliant little mindfulness app where you basically, are invited to breathe in and out and calm yourself through the app. It's quite lovely. Let's see, who else am I missing, you guys? Dana's game is a seed collecting game, just beautiful game, absolutely stunningly beautiful game. It's a platformer and fully playable. Let's see. So that's kind of, I'm just going through all, there's about 20 odd students, 24 students or so. So there's a number of tabletops, and then there's a number of digital Unity-based games. There's also, I'm forgetting now, Angelo and Lucas's game, which is kind of this medieval inventory warrior game. There's sort of, it reminds me a little bit of chess, but with a twist, with a medieval twist and a warrior twist. So that's Lucas and Angelo. So that's about it. I mean, there's quite a few games. They're quite lovely, but unfortunately, a lot of the students are in the process of moving right now. So it was very difficult for them to present.
Okay, well, thank you for that overview. And should any of these students sound interesting, if you are an employer and you're interested in talking with any of these students, you can reach out to me and I can put you in touch with the students. Again, BGNlab.ca will have the demos of these games that are playable. And so with that, I would like to thank you for joining us at this senior showcase. Keep an eye on our social media for when we do this again next year. Hopefully next year we'll be able to do this at least partially in person, but our hope is still to be able to stream something online to be able to share it with all of you. So thank you all for coming. For the seniors, thank you all for presenting. And until our next adventure together, take care and thank you.